She whispered, "I love you, but I could do better." So I took my $11,000 back, changed the locks, and let the consequences find her on their own. Welcome back, everyone. Before we begin, all names and characters in today's story are fictional. The core idea came from me. AI was used as a reading tool. The concept, the structure, every creative choice are mine. Today's story is called She Called It Cold Feet. I called it what it was. The difference cost her everything, and if you have ever been told you are safe, stable, and reliable, and then realized those words were being used as insults, this one is going to hit somewhere specific. Let's go.
Story Part 1. I am Logan, 28 years old, industrial electrician based in Phoenix. I wire manufacturing plants for a living, high-voltage systems, motor controls, automation panels, the kind of work that requires you to think clearly and move carefully, because mistakes in my field aren't just expensive, they are fatal. I grew up with just my mom Diane and my little sister Tessa after my dad walked out when I was 12. Mom worked 2 jobs: secretary at an elementary school during the day, cleaning office buildings at night. I watched her do that for years without complaining. I learned early that family comes first and you don't abandon people who are counting on you. I started working at 16, apprentice electrician straight out of high school. I have been building something steady ever since. Brianna and I met at a bar in Scottsdale. She was celebrating a work promotion, 26. Marketing coordinator at a tech startup downtown, college educated, polished, ambitious. Her parents are both professionals, nice house, matching Lexus SUVs, the whole package. I thought the class difference might be an issue, but Brianna said she loved that I was real compared to the corporate guys she was used to dating. 3.5 years together, 8 months engaged, wedding planned for 4 months out, venue booked at a resort in Scottsdale. Her dress alone cost $2,800, invitations sent to 150 people. We had a joint wedding account with $18,000 in it. I would put in $11,000 of that because I make more than she does. Last night changed all of it. Brianna came home at 3 a.m. completely wasted. She had been out with coworkers at some upscale bar downtown, not unusual. Her company does a lot of happy hours and networking events, but she was acting wrong, stumbling, dropping her purse twice before she made it to the bedroom. She sat on the edge of our bed still wearing her work clothes and started talking. "Logan, I need to tell you something." I was half asleep, trying to be supportive. "Okay, what is up?" "I have been thinking about us, about what I really want my life to look like, and I don't know if this is what I want." That woke me up fast. "You are a good guy," she said. "You are stable and reliable and safe. You pay your bills on time. You fix things around the apartment. You remember my birthday. But maybe that is the problem." She told me about Hunter. Hunter Vance, their regional sales manager, 32, black BMW, expensive suits that probably cost more than I make in a week. I would met him at a couple of her work events. Typical sales guy. All flash. No substance. Talks too loud. Name drops clients to impress people. "He makes me feel alive in a way I haven't felt in years," she said. "When I am with you, it is comfortable. When I am with him, it is exciting. It is like electricity." "Are you telling me you are cheating on me?" I asked. "It is not cheating if we haven't done anything physical yet." She said it quickly, like that made it better. "But Logan, I think I have been settling for you. You are safe, but you are not what I thought I wanted in life." Settling. That word landed like something thrown hard from a short distance. "I mean, you are wonderful for what you are," she said. "You are going to make someone a great husband someday. But I am 26, and I feel like I am about to lock myself into a life that is just ordinary." I looked at our apartment, the living room I had painted last month, the kitchen table we had picked out together, the couch where we watched movies every weekend. "What do you want to do?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "I just needed to be honest with you. Hunter makes me realize what I could have if I wasn't tied down to this." She gestured around the apartment like it was a prison cell. I got out of bed and started getting dressed. "Where are you going?" she asked. "If you think you are settling for me, I am going to make it easy for you," I said. "I am staying at my mom's tonight. Tomorrow, I am taking my money out of the wedding account." "Logan, wait, that is not what I meant." "It is exactly what you meant." I grabbed my keys and drove to my mom's house, spent the rest of the night staring at the ceiling, thinking about how I had been planning to spend the rest of my life with someone who saw me as a backup plan. The next morning, I went to the bank and withdrew my $11,000. Brianna has been blowing up my phone all day, alternating between apologizing and getting angry that I overreacted. Her parents are calling me selfish. My sister Tessa says I did the right thing. My buddy Jake says I should have talked to Brianna more before making a financial move that big. But here is what I keep coming back to. If someone tells you they are settling for you, why would you want to marry them?
Potatoes take. You are stable and reliable and safe. 3 words that are supposed to be compliments. In Brianna's mouth, they are a verdict. Notice the shape of what she actually said. Logan is good for what he is. He will make someone a great husband someday. He is wonderful, but not for her. That is not a woman having cold feet. That is a woman delivering a performance review to someone she has already decided to let go. And here is the part that matters. She said this out loud drunk. Yes, but the content of a drunk confession isn't invented on the spot. It is stored. It has been sitting somewhere, maintained, returned to. Settling doesn't appear in someone's vocabulary for the first time at 3 a.m. unless they have been thinking it in quieter moments for a long time. Logan didn't overreact. He did the only thing that made sense. He took her at her word. The question the rest of this story is going to answer is simple. How long had she known, and what else had she been keeping quiet while she figured out her exit?
Story part 2, being told to talk more about it, it turned out, was just the beginning. The first day after I took the money, Brianna showed up at my mom's house around 6 p.m. crying, begging me to come home. Logan, I was drunk and confused, she kept saying. I didn't mean any of that stuff about Hunter. I love you. I want to marry you. I just got scared about making such a big commitment. My mom answered the door and called me outside. Brianna's makeup was smeared. Her eyes were red. She hadn't slept. I told her, drunk words are sober thoughts. If she wanted to be with Hunter, she should go be with Hunter. But I don't want Hunter, she cried. I was just having cold feet. It is normal for brides to panic. Then why did you say you were settling for me? She couldn't answer that, just kept cycling through. I misspoke, and you are blowing this out of proportion. The second day, she switched tactics, started calling me controlling and financially abusive for taking our money. She called Tessa at work and demanded my sister convince me to come home. Your brother is being completely unreasonable, she told Tessa. I made one mistake, and now he is trying to ruin everything. Tessa told her exactly where to go. Not politely. The third day was the worst. I went back to the apartment to get more of my things. Brianna was there with her mom. They had been going through our finances, trying to figure out how to cover the wedding without my contribution. Every couple has pre-wedding jitters. Her mom said the moment I walked in, you cannot abandon your fiancée because she had a moment of doubt. A moment of doubt. I set down the empty boxes I would brought for packing. She told me she has been emotionally chasing her coworker and that she is settling for me. We argued for 20 minutes while I gathered my clothes. Brianna kept saying I was overreacting, that couples therapy could fix everything, that she had never done anything physical with Hunter. You keep saying that like it makes it better, I said, folding work shirts into a box. But you told me you are settling for me. You cannot take that back. People say things they don't mean when they are drunk. Her mom said from the doorway. Maybe, I said, but they also tell the truth when they think nobody's going to call them on it. That is when Tessa showed up to help me finish moving. The moment she walked through the door, Brianna's entire energy changed. Oh good, the sister's here, Brianna said. Did you come to support Logan's temper tantrum? Tessa raised an eyebrow. I came to help my brother get away from someone who doesn't appreciate him. Don't act like you know anything about our relationship. Logan and I have been together over 3 years. You have been jealous of me since day one because you cannot stand that Logan found someone more important than his little sister. More important, Tessa said. You just told him he wasn't good enough for you. Brianna's face went red. Get out of my apartment. It is Logan's apartment too, Tessa said calmly, continuing to tape a box of my books. We will be done in a few minutes. Brianna got right in Tessa's face and screamed, and then she slapped my sister across the face. The sound echoed through the apartment. I stepped between them immediately. You just made the biggest mistake of your life, I told Brianna. She was disrespecting me in my own home. This isn't your home anymore, I said, voice completely flat. Pack your stuff and get out. You have 1 week to find somewhere else to live. Brianna's mom tried to intervene, said I couldn't kick them out. I pointed out that the lease is in my name alone. After they left, Tessa and I went straight to the police station. She had the presence of mind to photograph her face immediately after it happened. We had Brianna's own mother as a witness. The cop who took our report said they would pursue charges, physical evidence, a witness, and no ambiguity about what happened. I changed the locks that same night.
Potatoes take. There is a pattern in how people respond when a plan stops working. First, Brianna came crying, the soft version. When that didn't work, she tried anger, called it financial abuse, mobilized her family, framed Logan as the aggressor. When that didn't work either, she escalated to something she couldn't walk back. The slap wasn't random. It was the act of someone who had exhausted every lever they had and reached for the only one left. But here is what it actually revealed. Brianna had been managing Logan, charm when she needed warmth from him, pressure when she needed compliance, manufactured crisis when she needed the focus back on her. The moment she couldn't manage him, the moment he stopped being movable, she moved to force. Logan's response was the right one. Not rage, not escalation, not revenge, just the removal of access. The locks changed, the documentation filed. The space closed. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply stop being available for what someone is trying to do to you.
Story part 3, the legal fallout started fast. 2 days after I filed the police report, Brianna was arrested. She spent a night in jail and was released on her own recognizance. Her parents hired a lawyer who is trying to get the charges dropped, calling it a domestic dispute between women who were emotional. Tessa isn't backing down. I don't care if she is upset about her relationship, she told me. She doesn't get to put her hands on me. The prosecutor agrees they are moving forward with the assault charge. The social fallout has been brutal. Our mutual friends split about down the middle. Half think I moved too fast, took the money too quickly, involved the cops over something that should have stayed private. The other half think Brianna showed exactly who she is. My buddy Jake, who initially thought I had overreacted, changed his mind entirely after the slap. Nobody hits family, he said. That is a line you don't cross. Brianna's parents have been calling me non-stop demanding. I dropped the charges. Her dad actually showed up at my job site last week, yelling at me in front of my crew about destroying his family's reputation. My foreman had to escort him off the property. I had to explain to my coworkers why some angry guy in a suit was screaming at me about wedding money. Then karma started finding Hunter. Turns out Hunter has been married for 6 years. His wife found out about his friendship with Brianna through mutual connections at a company party. Someone mentioned how cute it was that Hunter and Brianna had gotten so close lately. Hunter's wife did some digging, found flirty texts between them, and confronted him at the party in front of half the company. She threw her drink at him and called him out for chasing after engaged women like a pathetic middle-aged klitsch. HR launched an investigation. Apparently their company has strict policies about managers pursuing subordinates. Hunter got suspended pending the outcome. Brianna, meanwhile, was posting cryptic things on social media about learning who your real friends are and discovering people aren't who you thought they were. Then last week, my sister mentioned something. Tessa works as a dental hygienist, and one of her patients had seen Brianna at Target working as a cashier. Apparently, Brianna got let go from her marketing job during a company restructuring. Whether that was connected to the HR investigation or just bad timing, I don't know. But it is a massive pay cut from where she was. My mom says I shouldn't feel good about Brianna struggling, that it makes me petty. Honestly, I don't feel good about it. I don't feel much of anything. It is like watching a stranger's problems from a distance. What I do feel is clarity. I keep thinking about small things I ignored or explained away. How she would criticize my truck for being too blue-collar when we went to her work events. How she would make comments about my friends being rough around the edges. How she would hint I should dress differently or talk differently around her parents. I thought she was trying to help me grow. Now I understand she was embarrassed by who I actually was. My sister put it plainly. Logan, she didn't fall out of love with you. She was never in love with the real you in the first place.
Potatoes take. She was never in love with the real you. That sentence is doing a lot of work, and it deserves to be examined carefully. Brianna was drawn to a version of Logan she had constructed stable, useful, financially dependable, willing to build and maintain the life around her. The real Logan truck, blue-collar trade, friends who are rough around the edges was something she was quietly managing her way around. Hoping to sand down, keeping off stage when the audience changed. And here is the through line. Hunter wasn't a replacement for Logan. He was a signal about what Brianna thought she deserved. Not someone real, someone who performed status in a way she could show off at work events without feeling the need to apologize for him first. That is not a woman who stopped loving someone. That is a woman who was always using someone. The difference matters because one of those situations is salvageable and the other was never going to be. Logan got out of the one that was never going to be.
Story part 4 here is how everything eventually resolved. Brianna ended up pleading no contest to the assault charge, 6 months probation, anger management classes, payment of Tessa's medical bills. She had had to see a doctor about ringing in her ear after the slap and 40 hours of community service. Hunter got fired. The HR investigation found he had been pursuing multiple subordinates over the years. Brianna wasn't his first. He had a documented pattern of targeting women in committed relationships who worked under him. His wife divorced him and took half his assets. After losing his job, Hunter ended things with Brianna immediately. All that electricity, all that feeling alive, it dried up fast once he was unemployed and going through a messy divorce. Brianna tried to contact me a few times after that. I never responded. As for me, I got promoted to project supervisor at work, which came with a solid raise. I started dating someone new, Emma, an elementary school teacher and one of Tessa's friends from college. She thinks it is genuinely cool that I work with my hands. She gets along with my family. She has never once suggested I need to change anything about who I am. We have been taking it slow, but last month I asked her to move in with me. Tessa loves her. My mom loves her. Being with someone who actually appreciates you has a way of showing you, in sharp relief, just how toxic the previous thing really was. But here is where the story takes one more turn. I was going through some old boxes in my closet and found the engagement ring I had bought for Brianna. I would completely forgotten about it after everything went down. I figured I would get it appraised, sell it, recoup some of the money. I took it to a jewelry appraiser. The diamond wasn't real. It was a cubic zirconia. Sir, this is a nice setting, the appraiser told me, but this stone is definitely not a diamond. It is good quality CZ, but it is not worth more than about $50. I had paid $3,200 for that ring. The stone alone was supposed to be worth $2,400. I went home and really examined it. The setting looked identical to when I had bought it, but the stone was wrong. And that is when I remembered. Brianna had taken the ring to get it professionally cleaned about 3 months before our breakup. Said the jeweler was backed up. She had it for almost a full week. I went back to the jewelry store where I had purchased it. They confirmed the serial number on the setting matched their records, but they had never seen this stone before. I filed a police report for theft. 2 days later, the detective called me back. They had found a pawn shop record showing someone matching Brianna's description had sold a loose diamond 3 months ago for $1,800. The pawn shop had security footage and had required valid ID for the transaction. It was her. On top of the assault charge, Brianna is now facing theft charges for stealing the diamond from the engagement ring. The ring had been my grandmother's originally. I had had it reset with a larger stone for the proposal, but the setting itself was a family heirloom. The detective said because the stone was valued over $2,000, it qualifies as a felony under Arizona law. Last I heard through mutual friends, Brianna is still working retail and living with her parents. Her lawyer fees from the assault case wiped out her savings, and now she is looking at potential jail time for the theft. I am planning to propose to Emma. Different ring, one I am keeping locked in a safe until the moment I put it on her finger, insured and photographed professionally this time. No ambiguity about what it contains. Looking back at all of it, I understand something now that I didn't. Then Brianna's confession about Hunter wasn't about suddenly catching feelings for someone new. She would probably been planning her exit for months, stealing from me while she figured out her next move and lined up her replacement. She was financing her escape with money taken from the ring I had given her, while I was working overtime to pay for the wedding. But if she hadn't gotten drunk that night and told me the truth, I might have married her, might have spent years with someone who saw me as a placeholder, a stable, reliable, temporary arrangement, while she figured out what she actually wanted. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is exactly the thing that needed to happen.
Alright, that is the end of today's story. Logan didn't lose something real the night Brianna came home from that bar. He lost the illusion of something real, which is a different kind of loss. And in some ways, a harder one to grieve. You cannot mourn what you had, because what you had wasn't what you thought it was. But here is what he walked away with. His money, his family, his integrity, and eventually, Someone who didn't need him to be anything other than who he already was. If you stayed all the way through this one, I want to hear from you in the comments. Here's the question. When someone shows you who they are not in some dramatic, obvious way, but in a single quiet word like settling, do you believe them the first time, or do you talk yourself into giving them the benefit of the doubt? And what has that decision cost you? Thanks for being here. Thanks for spending your time with me. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next story.